Hello, it's me again, and today what we're gonna do is I'm gonna just show you how I do the sky, so you can focus on just one thing, which is the sky. Now, there are many ways to draw the sky, but let's just take this one way and get a good handle on it. So, what I tend to do is I tend to use a combination of cobalt blue, so that's this blue, and cobalt blue is pretty light.
A combination of?
It's just cobalt blue, and sometimes I'll mix it here with where there are other things, but you just even just plain cobalt blue will be fine. And then notice how I can go very lightly over the sky. So now this, you want to keep this water nice and loose, and you can go right over the picture as I told you. For now, just trust me and go over the picture and keep the eyes, for instance, white. There is a reason why I'm getting you to go over the picture. If that background isn't light enough, when it comes to the person, it's going to look terrible. So I'm moving now onto yellow ochre. So that's yellow ochre. That's what it looks like. That's not yellow, it's yellow ochre. And I just slightly mix it into the sky, just above, because that is wet. I can only do it while it's wet. Once it's dry, I'm going to get streaks. But while it's wet, I can get away with it. And that creates that glow in the sky. So if you look outside, you'll find that the sky tends to have a little glow. And so this center section is a mixture of yellow ochre and blue. And I can keep going. I need to keep this really light. And I can keep going. See, it's a little dance. The bottom of the sky, where all the light comes from, is usually your yellow ochre, and that's darker. Now, what you have to understand is that when you're going over the character, it needs to be really light. When you're away from the character, it can be a little darker, because the character is still going to need some kind of color. So there you go, and that's one sky, and we're done there. Now notice that I haven't done anything in the horizon. I've left all of this stuff. This is the ocean. These are some things in the background. I could go over that, shouldn't be a problem. But the horizon is not like I've drawn it right now. The horizon is absolutely rock straight. I mean, it has to be absolutely straight. I'm going over it to emphasize it's not what you should be doing, but it's straight as a line could be. That's the horizon, and then you let it dry.
Could I take the color all the way down to the bottom there?
No. Ideally, no. Ideally, if you're going to have separate sections, like this is the ocean, then you want it to dry before you start tackling it again. Now, when you look at that picture, you can see the blue. It's very light. You can see the yellow ochre mixing with the blue, the cobalt blue, and then more of the yellow ochre at the bottom. I haven't put a rich tinge, but it doesn't really matter. This is a very light touch.
So what if I was to take a very light touch, a lighter version of this yellow ochre and go all the way down to the bottom?
Well, in my case, this is the ocean. If I go and I put the yellow ochre at the bottom, I'm not going to get the ocean blue. So the ocean has this bluish, greenish tinge, and if I have the yellow ochre, I don't know.
So what if I put a second wash with blue on top of that yellow ochre?
We'll tackle just the sky for now. So just hang on. Let's handle the sky for now. So let's go to this picture at the top again. Here's my picture, and I'm going right across. Okay, a little maybe cloudier sky here, maybe darker. It's not so cobalt blue. Cobalt blue is quite a nice blue. See, I'm running out of adjectives. Nice blue. So cobalt blue, and then mix a little yellow ochre while it's still wet. It might look a little muddy to you, don't worry if you want to put some little more yellow ochre, but when you mix yellow ochre and and cobalt blue, you're going to get a bit of muddiness, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, and keep going. Keep going down. And in this case now, it doesn't matter if I go right down to the horizon. So I'll go now, and I'll put in some more yellow ochre, and notice how much brighter that got. And note that in future you may not do all of this, which is go right to the bottom. But for this exercise that we're going to learn, and I'm going to show you in a minute why that's important as soon as this other painting dries. So all of that is wet. When it's wet, you can make it dance. I can go in there and put in some. I can put in some pink, for instance, and it'll just flow down. What you have to understand is that if you're using the wrong paper, the wrong brush, or your paper isn't wet enough, then you will always get trouble. Once it's wet, see, you can actually see the glisten. You can see the glow. If you can't see that glow, this one's dry now. If I were to do anything on it, I would have trouble. How do you know that it's wet? You just hold the back of your palm, so like that. You hold it like that, and you can feel it cold. The part that's not wet is usually dry, so hold it like that. But even if you turn it towards the light, you can see it glisten. But here, anyway, so what we have done now is a really nice sky here. We've got cobalt blue, a mix of cobalt blue and yellow ochre, and then finally we've got yellow ochre and a pinkish bottom. Then we just mop up the stuff, and what we have here is a sky. So let's end this video at the sky, and let's make sure that you do really simple drawings like this without any fancy stuff for now. Just the sky, cobalt blue, a mix of cobalt blue and yellow ochre, and you get good skies. That's me, Sean D'Souza, saying I hope you have blue skies too. Bye for now.